So we have now officially entered the month of August for baseball, as we're really starting to get a good idea of who the top teams in the league are, who will be contending for a playoff spot, who will be the top teams contending for the World Series, and who will be left in the tank bowl for the draft lottery. Of course, we all know coming out of the All-Star break how bad the Tigers' bullpen has been, and with the trade deadline officially now come and gone, the Tigers did everything they could to get rentals to bolster up the bullpen. As of course, they would acquire a bunch of arms to help out that bullpen, to show that they're trying to get some talent around for Rick Skubal. So Skubal doesn't have any more fucking great, outstanding, and Cy Young-like performances go to waste again. As the reinforcements in the bullpen include the likes of Chris Paddock from the Twins, Rafael Montero from the Braves, Paul Sewell from the Guardians, Trevor Finnegan from the Nationals, Charlie Morton from the Orioles, Cody Hewer from the Rangers, and the Tigers have decided they had enough of the Matt Manning experiment and sent his ass straight to Philly. So yeah. And of course, some Scott Harris would explain why it was just rentals and no big splash moves in the trade deadline, which we rarely see any big splash moves at the deadline. Even though Tigers did miss out on a couple pieces that could have helped the roster out too. As Scott Harris said that he believes that the idea of a championship window is just an illusion, and he likes the idea of trying to build his team up through the farm system. Well, that's fine and dandy until you realize that most of your minor league prospects are just minor league players. Like, honestly, he did do some things, but there really needs to be more of an urgency and a chance to win now, while the iron is hot. Especially when you have the best pitcher in baseball right now in Rick Skubal. And especially considering that Skubal's in a contract year and he'll be a free agent at the end of the year. So yeah, there needs to be a sense of urgency, unless you can get Skubal that extension of money he wants and he rightfully deserves. Because like I said before, if you don't give Skubal that payday, he's just going to go get it somewhere else with either fucking New York or LA, or hell, even the fucking Astros, maybe. But yeah, anyway, in terms of this week for Tigers baseball, well, after the disappointment they had coming out of the break, the Tigers officially got things back on track with a massive sweep over the Arizona Diamondbacks, giving Arizona belt to ass. So, looks like Detroit belt to ass is officially back on the menu. Until the Tigers end up having a 3-game set against a real team in Philadelphia, facing the Phillies. And well, it was a hard series, as Philly took the first game from the Tigers, as the Tigers should have won the first two games of the series. But in game 1, they had a 3-0 lead and then completely imploded and blew it. That's disappointing. Tigers would bounce back to win the second game of the series. And then the third game of the series against Philly, which was a nationally televised game on ESPN for Sunday Night Baseball. Well, Charlie Morton actually had a really solid start. Pitched a very solid game. Like, honestly, they did pretty good enough to win defensively. The problem is the offense laid a massive goose egg and they lost the third game in the series to the Phillies 2-0. So yeah, the one time that the pitching actually did their job and the rentals actually lived up to potential. And the offense goes on and lays a fucking goose egg and puts it all to waste. Damn it. But I mean, nothing really against Philly though. You know, it's a really good team. It's two good teams that met. In the end, Philly was just a better team. Plain and simple. You know, Tigers should have won the series, but, you know, the first game they shot themselves in the foot, and then the final game, the offense chose to lay a goose egg and become a pumpkin. Just pretty disappointing. You know, started the week off strong, but, you know, just didn't do good enough against Philly. But even despite that, the Tigers are now 65-48. They still hold an 8-game lead in the AL Central over Cleveland. And they're now officially back in business, as now they are tied for the top spot in the AL, tied with the Blue Jays. So they're tied with those Blue Jay Canucks from Toronto. Currently, Toronto has the tiebreaker. I'm not 100% sure what the tiebreaker would be if it comes down to a tie. I wonder if the tie would end up being a 163rd game between Toronto and Detroit to decide that top spot. I mean, baseball is usually known to just have their tiebreakers just be a 163rd game. You know, very possible if it ever comes down to it. We could have the Jays and Tigers just playing a 163 winner-take-all game for the 1 seed if it comes down to it by at the end of September. That would be the easiest way to break the tie. But, common sense is pretty irrelevant in today's society since, it's not the entertaining option. But yeah, Tigers, though, they're back on track, finally getting back to their winning ways after coming out of that All-Star break limping like hell. So yeah, Tigers got a solid week, but it ain't going to be easy. They got the Twins coming up, and then they got other contenders coming up as, we're now entering August. We're down into the final 2 months of the season. And with the trade line officially in the rearview mirror, we're now starting to get a good idea of who the playoff team pitcher could look like. As the Tigers look like they could be a top 3 seed this year. Whether they can get back to the top speed and seed and be the head of the table in the American League, to be determined. But so far, the Tigers have got their work cut out from, especially since somebody let the goddamn Blue Jays get hot. Damn, I wonder who in Canada let the Blue Jays get hot. Definitely wasn't those wildfire smokes, right? Right? See you next week. I'm out.